Pull it in.
You ready? Call the regular meeting of May 6, 2025 to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Douglas,
Here.
Ms. Hayes, Mr. Horvath,
Here.
Mrs. Sensi,
Here.
and Mr. Thompson.
Here.
All right.
We have a motion to appoint Jeff Thompson as treasurer tempore to preside over the May 6, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll move.
Second. Any discussion?
All right.
Roll call.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
motion carries.
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
All right.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
motion carries.
We have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 15th, 2025.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Right, before we begin board member reports, we're going to have a moment of silence. It is always sad to learn of someone's passing, especially when it is a member of our Madison family. Recently, we learned of the passing of Deanne Isaacson, former third grade teacher for the Madison Local School District. Deanne was born November 30th, 1947 in Alliance, Ohio, and passed away on May 1st, 2025 at her home, surrounded by her loved ones. She enjoyed reading, shopping, playing cards, and spending time with her family and grandchildren. She was a huge Browns fan, and her favorite player of all time was Bernie Kosar. Deanne will be missed by her husband of 54 years, Rick, daughters Jennifer and Lauren, and stepdaughters Rebecca and Sandra, 5 grandchildren, and other family members. All of us at Madison Schools extend our deepest and most sincere sympathy to Deanne's family and friends. Thank you.
I just want to add, that, you know, Mrs. Rogas knows everybody and taught with Mrs. Isaacson at North Madison Elementary. And she said she always had good scores from the students. When she retired, she said, don't let them ever take the phonics out of reading. Keep open court. We have open court and we have the science of reading, which is all phonics based. And a little known fact, she was a very fast reader. She could read a page almost as fast as you could turn the page of a book. So I thought I'd share that with her.
Are there any board members wishing to give a report this evening? All right, we do not have anyone registered for public participation. We'll move to recommendations of the treasurer.
And since the treasurer is not here this evening, there is no full report, but we did think it was appropriate to go through and look at the donations. So we're asking you to approve the following donations this evening: to accept a generous donation of building materials from Carter Lumber to be used for Caleb Meister and Logan Woodside's Madison Service Learning Project; to accept a generous donation of $400 from Progressive Insurance to North Elementary to be used for PBIS PTO needs; to accept a generous donation of $200 from Progressive Insurance to North Elementary to be used for PBIS; to accept a generous donation of $3,000 from Madison Booster Club to Madison High School freshman, sophomore, and junior classes to be used as needed; to accept a generous donation of $100 from Stephanie Jo Pierce to Madison High School to be used for senior fees; to accept a generous donation of $2,500 from Molten Metal Equipment Innovations to Madison High School to be used for senior fees; to accept a generous donation of $600 from Progressive Insurance through Charities AIDS Foundation of America to Madison Middle School to be used for the Garden Club, to accept a generous donation of $160 from Bill and Joe Hudson to Madison High School to be used for senior fees, to accept a generous donation of $2,000 from RMS Empower Incorporated to Madison High School to be used for ecology projects, to accept a generous donation of $200 from Mac and Catherine Mandigello to Madison High School to be used for senior fees. I need a motion and a second.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you to the many people who donated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Reports of the administrative team.
All right, I do want to talk about the, you saw some extra retirements. It's funny, at our last meeting that, where we had an executive session, while we were wrapping up the executive session, I'm looking on my phone and I read STRS votes to go to 32 years. And I was like, what? What does that mean? And so it meant that we got some retirements that we weren't anticipating this year. So you will, those are on the agenda this evening. And that stays into place from now until I think 2030. And then for 2 years, it'll go back to the 33 that they had voted on in November. And then from there on out, it'll go to 34 years. And the benefits then would be the same each of those years. So right now, full benefits for 32 years through 2030. Then we've got 33 years, and then it's going to land on 34 years.
How long are they gonna do 33?
2 years.
Okay.
They were originally, back in November, had said that it would be 33 for this year. So these are, you know, retirements that we had not anticipated because it was at 33.
We gotta rush the retirements, huh?
Yeah, yep. And I'm still waiting to one more official, and I'll probably have that when we have our meeting for the 5-year forecast on the 19th. So,
So we were not anticipating that change at the pension system either.
correct, no. And I honestly, you know, it depends on who you talk to, what that change means. They feel that they can do it, even though the markets right now have
Right.
taken a turn, because on top of that, they have also said that they can give a 1.5% COLA to anybody who's been retired for 5 years. So, you know, they must be okay, or I would hope they wouldn't, you know, be doing these things. So it's, you know, and I say that as the superintendent that's leaving, but I know one of the proposals that was on the table was to increase the employer share of, you know, what gets paid into the STRS. It doesn't have legs right now. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's something that the board needs to be aware of and watch. Other than that, we are in full spring mode. I think testing has just about wrapped up. You know, students are attending some of their fun events and spring field trips. We have the Olympics next week for our 5th graders. We will have 5th grade promotion at North the last week of school. Middle school honors breakfast is next Friday morning or Tuesday morning. Graduation is next Saturday. So there is a whole lot going on. At the end of April, I did tour the district with new superintendent Dan. He got to meet most of the staff, not all of the staff, but most of the staff. And I think he was very impressed by what he saw. So, you know, saw the buildings, gave a different look, you know, than I would have. And, you know, I think he's excited to come, and I'm excited to transition him. That's about it for my report tonight. The budget is still, it's in the Senate. We have no idea yet what the Senate is going to recommend. There's a couple proposals out there. Like I shared in the last meeting, The one proposal doesn't impact us, that if you have more than a 30% carryover, there's a discount on people's property taxes. We don't ever have more than a 30% carryover in our forecast. So I don't know where that's going to go. Another proposal that's out there is looking at the 20 mil floor limitation. But that has not been made in the budget yet. And we are at the 20 mil floor, so that could impact us. And once I see what that proposal is, I will get very active in writing our legislature about it. But again, this is a process, as I've said all along, as Greg has said, we aren't going to know where we're going to land until June 30th. And then there's been some years that we haven't had a budget by July 1st, but I think they're pretty confident that we're going to have that budget by July 1st. Dave, do you have anything this evening?
No, I may speak later on for the item in the consent calendar.
Okay.
At the time.
You had mentioned the roof the last time.
Yes.
How's that coming along?
We are on the list. So the purchase order has been cut and we are on the list for them to do it.
Okay,
So it should be done before, obviously school starts in the fall.
excellent.
And we, have a bus. Bus bids are due back, I think, either this week or next. So we'll be ordering a bus that will be delivered in the fall. So we're, doing what we can do with the funds we have. Mrs. Grimes, do you have anything this evening?
Well, sure. In light of that projection for STRS, I think I'll probably die in my chair because I got into education pretty late. So might be 40 years before I'm allowed to retire, but I'm happy to be here. I can help. Dave and I are actually working on a project that we just met last week. We're partnering, we're hoping to get a grant. So that's what we agreed to be a partner. I think there's 2 other local school districts with the ESC that it's for like coffee talks in the communities. And so it's a facilitated event and it's about bringing community awareness and trying to have, the ideas or the working together, collaboration between the school and the community. And so there were different topics that, each district could kind of, decide, well, what do we really want to focus as something, what is a need in our community that we would like to, really bring awareness to or to support. So it's really about a supportive, kind of like a mentoring, also kind of template. So there's a lot of things. And so Dave and I kind of went back and forth and we arm wrestled and I got the winning thing for autism. So basically in special education, it's been something that I've wanted to do for our parents is to try to give as many resources. So many parents don't know what they don't know. And especially because our pre-K, we have such a robust, such a great pre-K program, especially kind of targeting families with young students who have disabilities. And so I'm really excited. It sounds hopeful that the ESC will get this grant. And then I offered already our wonderful partnership with the library. I said the library will be fantastic because they love to help us and they love supporting community events. And so there's not a whole lot of commitment on our part right now. It's more, they're going to kind of train, they're going to do basically everything. We're going to hold the site. And then as the year progresses, and then I think it's 2 or 3 years, then we would be able to then facilitate it ourselves in order to keep it going.
Yeah,
So
there's a very specific format they'll be trained in as we participate in these events for family engagement. We'll learn. It's a train the trainer model. So we'll learn and then we can host events on, any topic that's pertinent at the time. So.
yeah, and so that is kind of a segue into so last year we did a family survey for all of the families, parents in the district who have students with disabilities. So every several years, so through the state of Ohio, it's kind of like a lottery. They pick X amount of school districts that they ask to take part, and it becomes part of, basically, they do like a cross section, and so then it becomes part of the state, the profile for special education, just to kind of gauge what families, what parents are feeling about the support from their own school districts. And so it's always kind of hard to get parent participation, especially, when you're at a meeting or trying to get awareness. So we had several ways, it was on our website. We had put it through Infinite Campus, and then we had like a QR code at the parent meetings for the IEP meetings. And so we actually had 90 parents. So that was really, I was pleasantly surprised, because 90%, I mean, that's a really good percentage of, the amount of students that we have with disabilities. And so it was not a surprise that our families were very satisfied. And I shouldn't say that, but I was very happy to read that. But it was really great. The questions that they had, there were a few areas, and the one area, which is why I felt strongly about this grant for for family and community engagement, is that parents just didn't understand the process. They don't feel that they understand. They don't know what's going on. And so it's not necessarily us, but again, so then from that, I'm going to try to do some more things, put things on our website, work on the webpage over the summer. And then I'm going to have I've kind of come up with some like brochures or whatever, just at, the first meetings when parents start to ask things. So it was a really great opportunity to learn, what is needed and what our families are thinking. So, and I was really pleased with the outcome.
That's excellent attendance.
Yeah.
I think it's so important, Jen, what you guys do, especially getting information out to the community about special needs, particularly autism. I think on the national level, with all this misinformation and crazy talk about what the capabilities of autistic children can be,
Yeah.
that it's more and more important to get that communication out to our community, to let them know the real, true information and the capabilities of these students. It's a shame that some people believe in other things other than what the capabilities truly are. So thank you.
Right, sure.
I do have one last thing I want to talk about. This weekend is the spring musical at Rabbit Run. It officially opens the theater for Rabbit Run. The musical this year is Curtains, and it's kind of like a murder mystery within a play. So it looks to be a very interesting musical, and I know our students are so talented, and it should be. I think the weather's going to be halfway decent this weekend too. It's not, you're not going to be sitting in a monsoon in a cold, drafty barn. So it should be
Yeah,
very
I think it is
nice.
supposed to be decent. Yeah.
Yeah. Ready for the recommendations?
Yes.
Okay. Under the employment motion this evening, I'm asking you to approve the following resignations: to accept with regret the retirement resignation of Debbie Green, South Elementary first grade teacher, effective August 1st, 2025, after 18 years of service to the district. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Vince Bales, Madison Middle School social studies teacher, effective June 1st, 2025, after 30 years of service to the district. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Sherry Blaylock, Madison Middle School social studies teacher, effective September 23rd, 25, after 23 years of service to the district. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Janice Hart, Madison Middle School English teacher, effective July 1st, 2025, after 32 years of service to the district. To accept with regret the retirement resignation of Tammy Dodd, special needs assistant, after 30 years of service to the district. To accept the resignation of Jovette Hiltonen, Director of Early Childhood Education, effective July 31st, 2025. Accept the resignation of Alexandra Germ, Madison High School and Madison Middle School Assistant Band Director, effective the 2024-25 contract year. Accept the resignation of Nick Guston, Madison High School head basketball coach, effective the end of the 2024-25 sports season. We're asking you to enter into the employment contracts. Casual day-to-day substitutes for the 2024-25 school year, Brittany Carlton and Brian Verdi. The following certificated personnel under a one-year limited supplemental contract for the 24-25 contract year. And that's Hannah Namick, spring musical choreographer. Following non-certificated persons under a one-year limited personal service contract for the 24-25 school year. Eric Caddo, MHS musical tech director. And we're asking you to approve the following transfer, to approve the transfer of Cheryl Radovan from a 7-hour position as a special needs assistant at South Elementary School to a 7.5-hour building secretary position at South Elementary School. And that would be effective August 1st, 2025.
I'll move.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson. All right, we're asking you this evening to approve the graduates of the class of 25. To approve the list of seniors for graduation from Madison High School on May 17th, 2025. The board grants the administration the authority to remove from the list the name of any student who does not meet the graduation requirements established in board policy 5460 or has excessive absence and or unexcused absence or tardies as defined in board policy 5200 or who demonstrates improper behavior as defined by board policy 5500.
I'll move.
Second.
All right,
Any discussion?
just a very small list of kids on the bubble, so hopefully we have more.
How many students do we have?
You know, I didn't have time to count it today. Usually I do, but I know it's under 200, so it's a small graduating class. And that seems to be the trend. I think we only have a couple more classes over 200 in the whole district K to 12. So it's not next year's. I think next year's junior class or sophomore class is a little over 200, and next year's 7th grade class is over 200. The rest of them are all below 200. And when I started here, 23 years ago, we were almost at 300 students a graduating class. May have been over for a couple.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, this one is also why I didn't do it under my report. It's the Teacher Appreciation Week resolution. But, throughout the week, and I know somebody published a list today in one of the buildings of all the different days you could celebrate all year long, different staff members. And I think, we do it 1 week out of the year because then it's centralized. So in addition to the, teachers, we appreciate all our staff. We appreciate our, nutrition services workers, our custodians, our maintenance people, our secretaries, our aides, our custodians, our bus drivers, our transportation, our mechanic. I mean, we really have an amazing staff here. And our teachers, I have said this over and over again, are the best around. And, I just did a little thing with Joe today, and that's what I said. I will miss this staff. I am going to truly miss the people that I have worked with for the last one. And it's hard,
It is.
and you're
gonna
gonna
get
have to bear
harder.
with me.
It's
And
gonna get harder.
yeah, graduation next week, I think will be another tough one.
Oh, yeah.
But, I truly have had an incredible run, and it's because of all the great people I work with. So I am not going to read the whole resolution, but I summed up my sentiments on it.
I'll move.
I'll second.
And is there any discussion then? Anybody else have anything they want to say?
We certainly appreciate the teaching staff. Thank you very much. Including the teacher that lives at my house, also known as my wife.
Well, that's good. I think you better, acknowledge that.
Times 3 if she's listening.
Mr. Horvath, your wife is in the audience.
We'll wait.
I tried, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll call, also known as saving Brian.
Mr. Douglas.
Yes.
Seen Brian get red in a while.
Mr. Horvath.
Yeah.
Mrs. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
All right, and I am not going to read every retirement resolution that's on here.
Yeah.
But they're for all the people that announced prior and so far, except I guess I'll have to write Susan's because, hers isn't on here, but we have the retirement resolution for Norma Wright, Kathy Gould, Janice Hart, Debbie Green, Vince Bales, Sherry Blaylock, Greg Clark, and Tammy Donna.
I'll move.
Any discussion?
Just thank you for all their years of service.
Congratulations to the retirees.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Go have fun.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath.
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Right. This is, even though we, don't have to, think about it for a little while, we have to think about it for, next, winter. This is a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2025.
I'll move.
A second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, we only have a few items on the consent calendar tonight. There's an addendum with the ESC of the Western Reserve for staffing and programs for the 2025 school year. There is to enter into an agreement between Cartwheel Health Services and Madison Local Schools to provide mental health services for Madison Middle School students and families effective May 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, to approve an agreement with the Madison Local Schools and Educational Alternatives to provide educational, emotional, and physical services for effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Can I
Quick
ask-
question.
I-
You moved your motion, then we'll do
Okay.
discussion.
All right. I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah. Why is it just the middle school? Is there a separate one for like the high school and the elementaries, or it's just
Dave
all?
can address that.
Right, so 2 years ago, we wrote for and got a Stronger Connections grant for the middle school only. And it was about student wellness, staff wellness. And part of what we wrote for was a tier 3 intervention to support people who have pretty significant needs. This Cartwheel is an online, a virtual therapy. It's very similar to what we do with Crossroads already in our schools. One of the kind of cool things about it is a lot of families like to do things virtually. There's no having to drive your child to mentor to be able to see a therapist. Oftentimes you have a long waiting period before you can get in because they're virtual and they hire therapists from all over the world, most likely. They guarantee no wait. This is an organization that began in the Boston area several years ago and is just spreading. It's growing quickly. It's got a great price point. But we thought that with the middle school that we would use it because our grant that we wrote 2 years ago really requires that we have a piece like this in there, but also as an opportunity to pilot it and see if it's something that goes well for us. And if it does, look at growing it across the.
So this will start with the next school year.
This will start, yes, actually, this will start in a date, if it's approved tonight, in a date within the next couple days, and they'll actually give us a little bit longer than a school year. They'll give us, so that if there are students that could benefit from it, they could engage in it through the summer as well.
Are we gonna put out some flyers or something?
This is by recommendation through the school, so they may have some folks already that they want to recommend, but this all goes through the families, and the families have to completely be on board, and it has to be something that they want to do. And if they do, then there may be some students that could take advantage of this through the summer. Like I said, we'll have 25 slots to be able to use for this rate.
Okay.
You already addressed what I was gonna ask you about, if this was in tandem with, Crossroads, or if this was something different, so thank you.
It's
for
very
that.
similar. It's
Yeah.
just more opportunity.
And just from personal experience, virtual for some kids at this age is a lot easier for them to, it doesn't feel, they feel inhibited to talk a little bit more. So I think it's a great
And
idea.
it can happen in the home, it can happen in the school, and there is communication.
Yeah, I
between
think
the-
that's great.
There's allowable communication.
I'll be
between-
curious to see how that works out, because I think it's gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, and one interesting thing that we were told in the presentations that we saw was that they have not had a district that has not re-upped it since
Right.
they started. So
Well,
that's
see,
a
yeah.
pretty impressive track
Yeah.
record. So hopefully we're not
Just
the first.
convenience alone and just for the comfort factor, I think it's great.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
All right, we do have a need for executive session this evening, so do we have a motion to move into executive session for the purposes of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or regulated individuals?
I'll move.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Horvath,
Yes.
Mrs. Sensi,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
We're in executive session at 6:32. When we come out, we'll not be in the.
No business.
Do not plan to take any